out lineup is drawn after 36 matches and 108 goals. It's Brazil versus Chile in the first pre-quarter match to be played on the 28th of June at the in Belo Horizonte, and it will be red hot orange against in-form Mexico on the 29th of June in Fortaleza. Hello and welcome everyone. You're watching a brand new edition of Carnival 2014 Brazil. I'm Shivani Gupta. With me are our football panel. Ashley Westwood, Bengaluru FC's I-League winning coach, is with us in the studio, and with him is former Team India manager Eric Benny as well. Joining us from Kolkata, our consulting editor Boria Majumdar. Later on the show, we'll also be joined by two special guests. One from Manchester, Kevin Moore, the director of the National Football Museum, as we build up to the England game later tonight. And also Mihir Bo, senior sports journalist and author, who's been our eyes and ears in Brazil. First up, let's talk about the results we had last night. Brazil's 4-1 thrashing of Cameroon was a great example of the kind of flair that we have been waiting to see from this team. But one man single-handedly took his team forward. The win has once again underlined not just the host position as favourites for the title, but also Neymar's contention as perhaps the player of the tournament.
Brazil are unbeaten so far in the competition with 2 wins and a draw. They top Group A with 7 points. In all, Brazil have scored 7 goals this World Cup. Neymar alone has 4 to his name. The South American giants are now through to the round of 16, but critics question whether they can go all the way to the final. A bigger question, however, is if anything can stop Neymar. Sports Bureau headlines today.
So the question we're asking our viewers today on Twitter is, can Neymar lead Brazil all the way to the title? Tweet with hashtag Carnival 2014 or hashtag Open Happiness, plus your answer, hashtag agree or hashtag disagree. We'll show you live results of what the viewers are saying right here on Carnival 2014. Let's get to our guests now. Ashley, Brazil were on song in this one, but this was Cameroon. Would you say that they've proved their title credentials, or there's still doubts on them?
No, I've still got a doubt, to be honest. Obviously, they've scored 4 goals and it looks impressive on paper, but if you go back and you analyse the goals, it was more or less Cameroon's, weakness. They've given the ball away in the defensive third 3 times, and 5 seconds later the ball's ended up in the back of the net. So it wasn't all plain sailing for me. As good as Brazil were in stage and as good as Neymar was, I still think, collectively that they've not done it yet.
Yeah, but Neymar, the man for the big stage, this was Brazil's 100th World Cup game, and his was the 100th goal of this World Cup, Eric. And we talked about player attitudes. We talked about the pressure that's there on this 22-year-old man. But if you listen to him, his attitude is very different than the other. He says, there's no pressure on me. I'm doing exactly what I've always dreamt of doing. So I'm just going out there and enjoying myself and doing everything my team needs.
Exactly, Shivani. The point is, he's got his head sorted, the way it looks out. Because the last game that we saw, he was effective. He did what was right. There were 11 shots and all on target. Yeah. They optimized the opportunity, which was a weakness for the defense for Cameroon. And yes, they were weak, but you know what? They moved and they played the game, and they proved them even weaker. So I think it's going better step by step. Let's just be careful and watch in terms of what's in store, what will happen. Yeah. And I'm hopeful because, like I always mention, the Holy Trinity, the fans, the manager and the players. It's working. Let the magic sauce just keep working.
Right. Let's go across to Boria. Boria, do you think all those doubts about whether Neymar will buckle under the pressure, all of those doubts are seeming a little ill-founded? So far, he's handled himself extremely well.
No doubt he's handled himself extremely well, but the doubts, if will have to be ill-founded, will have to be on the 13th of July, not before that. I mean, you've just made it to the round of 16. You will now get it really, really tough. It's Chile, and then it'll be the quarterfinal, semi-final, final. I mean, it's the business end. Until and unless you're the home stretch and then pull through the home stretch, how will you say that the critics will be silent? As Ashley said, there are still doubts. Doubts will persist, Shivani. 13th of July, and everybody will say Neymar is king. Is he king or is he not?
Yes, we're all waiting for that. Will he be anointed king or not? But what are the problems, Ashley, for Brazil? The defense still looks shaky. The defense has been exposed a few times. And Fred, even though he scored his first goal, I mean, it doesn't look like a lot of their other players are in form, really.
I think the defence is definitely weak. You know, the fullbacks are getting exposed in wide areas. There's a lot of times that the wide men are getting in behind the fullbacks. You see the goal last night was a crosser in behind Alves on the right hand side, across into the box, and then Luis being what he's done at Chelsea. You know, he gets in bad positions defensively. You know, Chelsea ended up moving him into central midfield because they can't really trust him as a centre half. So there's still a lot of defensive weaknesses for me, and you know, they need to tighten that up if they're going to play Chile, obviously, which they are. Very good side, and it's going to be a different game. They're going to have to be on the game to beat them.
Yes, because Luis Felipe Scolari is on record to say that Chile is a pain to play because their style is also very contradictory and contrasting to Brazil's style.
Yeah, I mean, Eric will tell you that, you know, they have Neymar, Brazil, and Chile have got Sanchez, who's very good, who has to be looked after, without a doubt.
And Chile are arch rivals. It doesn't get better than Brazil and Chile. The weakness that I see for the Brazilian defense is the Dani Alves wing, because he has a tendency to come attack and then he gets a little slow while coming back. So that's an area of opportunity.
Yes, the team bus though for Brazil says the sixth one is coming. Brace yourselves. But we're yet to see that really materializing on the field of play, and the competition is only going to get tougher from here. But it's interesting what Scolari said about his defense. He's saying, I'm not worried about it at all. Even the best defenders in the world are troubled. I was troubled as well. But he acknowledges the fact that they cannot afford to have any more hiccups now.
I think it's the style that they're expansive, you know, they attack from all areas, especially the fullbacks. They get forward really well, so it obviously leaves them a bit weak at the back. You know, they're flamboyant, they're entertainers, and that's obviously going to lead to you conceding a few goals. So, you know, they need to tighten that up, like we say, and see how they go from here.
All right, we're going to slip into a very short break soon, but before that we just wanted to remind our viewers that Ashley Westwood has signed a new 2-year contract with Bengaluru FC. Ashley, congratulations. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
No, just I came to the country obviously last year, and it went really well, and it was just a case of now putting some stability behind the club, getting myself signed up for a longer term, and hopefully continue and defend what we've done.
Yes, inaugural season for Bengaluru FC last year, and they won the I-League. So all eyes will be on you. People must have sorted you out, Ashley. Are you prepared?
Yeah, I'm prepared. Pressure. Love it. Like Neymar. Nice and relaxed.
But just an overall word about Indian football. Now that Ashley and Eric, both of you are very acquainted with the Indian football setup. You know, we're talking about the Football World Cup and just how India doesn't feature and so, you know, lowly ranked. Eric, first do you see the signs of improvement? The other day we heard about ISL tying up with EPL as well.
All right, you know, when you talk about India making it to the World Cup, it will only come once we do very well in grassroots. We got to qualify for under-17 World Cup and be the top 4 nations. If we do not do that, then we don't see anything happening. You can have plans, you can have projects, but the grassroots is the key. So that's what you got to do. Now, ISL definitely will add in value because you have people out there who are putting their money and them out together. So now let's keep our eyes on it. Let's see what's happening. Let's see what really comes forth, and let's embrace it. That's all I can say.
Actually, I'll put you on the spot. How long before India can make it to the World Cup?
I mean, like Eric says, it's a long plan. You know, you look at
20 years, 25
yeah, probably
years?
You look at Japan. You know, they started making big strides in the 90s, and all of a sudden they're not a bad side in the World Cup. So it takes that investment at the lower levels and things to improve underneath, and I'm sure they're going to get there eventually. And
I'm sure you'll make your contribution to Indian football as well. Let's just take a look at just what our Twitter viewers are telling us. Remember, we asked you, can Neymar lead Brazil all the way to the title? A very little percentage saying yes. A lot of our viewers disagreeing with that. Maybe they're not fully convinced about Brazil's title credentials and even Neymar being able to lead them, just like some of our experts were also expressing some doubts on their abilities. But keep tweeting us. We'll get you more live results as we go on. And Brazil, 3 games, 3 wins. Netherlands have once again affirmed that they are one of the top contenders for this World Cup with a 2-0 win over Chile. It's turning out to be a very good World Cup for the Dutch here, Ashley, and Louis van Gaal's substitutions are becoming legendary in this World Cup. I mean, another 2 substitutions and both of them on the page.
Yeah, I mean, he's tactically getting it spot on at the minute. You know, there's a a philosophy behind the game, if you like. He knew that, like we've mentioned before, that Chile give up space towards the end of the game. He timed his substitutions brilliantly, and you know, if sub comes on and scores his first touch, you must feel like you're the messiah at the minute as the coach. Everything he's doing just seems to be going off for him. He's doing really well.
Yes, it's a good way to end the group stage. A lot of confidence behind the Dutch team, but of course, competition will get tougher from here on. Remember, the knockouts start now. Borja, with Arjen Robben in the form that he is in right now, and the fact that the Dutch haven't really lost a group stage match since 1994, maybe it's just their time this time.
Can be. You know, and Arjen Robben indeed is the best player of this competition. The man at 30 is running at 30 plus kilometers an hour. Every time he gets the ball, he's dazzling. Clearly the best player of the World Cup so far. So what Johan Cruyff, Neeskens and the others couldn't do, Gullit, Van Basten, Koeman, Kluivert, that generation did not do. Maybe this one. Yeah. You know, and Wesley Sneijder, he's also playing his part. We are not talking about him, only RVP and obviously Arjen Robben, but Wesley Sneijder will also come into his own come the business end of the competition.
Yes, they could face Germany, if I'm not wrong, in the semi-finals, and that could be a good revenge match for this generation of the Dutch.